if you close your eyes, and again, we play this game of inquiry, I invite you to ask yourself, how do you use your wound to avoid taking responsibility for your life? How do you use your wound to avoid taking responsibility for your life? And so another way of asking this is, how do you use your wound to avoid your spiritual path? Now, sometimes we've been hurt. We know what the truth is. But we push off the truth for another day. We push off appropriate action for another day. Because we need a little bit of time to wallow. How do you give your power away in order to maintain your wound? So if we want to be spiritually awake, we need to have all of our power. We cannot give it away to something that is false. And so I will ask you again, how do you give your power away in order to maintain your wound? And for some of us, we feel incredibly righteous or justified in being wounded. And it may be absolutely true that you have every right to be angry. You have every right to be angry for a day, a month, a year, a decade, maybe a couple decades. You have every right to maintain your wound, to hold on to it, to remind yourself that this painful thing happened in an effort, to guard against experiencing that thing again. And so this is what the ego does, is it just reminds itself again and again, repeating the story. But if we let our ego spin out of control, we're giving our power away. We're giving it away to the force of habit, the force of resentment or anger, injustice. How do you give your power away in order to maintain your wound? It's a great question if we want to be awake, if we want to be free. And so now we'll shift and we'll ask some questions about healing the wound. Are you willing to take on the path of forgiveness? In order to heal your wound and to step into the present moment. So are you willing to take on the path of forgiveness? in order to heal the past. So you may live in the here and now, awake, vibrant, and free. So forgiveness doesn't mean you agree with what happened. It doesn't mean that you think it's right. It doesn't mean that you think it's fair. Forgiveness means you acknowledge that this did happen. It was painful. And you're ready to be done carrying this pain from the past. You're ready to be done carrying it. Forgiveness sometimes comes in the form of, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy to think about this pain from the past anymore, to repeat it in my mind. I only have the time and the energy to do what I love, to be with my loving self, my loving heart, my beautiful heart. And so I'm willing to forgive just as a means of just putting down the past. Because I love myself so much, I want to live in the present moment, the joy and the beauty of my own essence, And so I'll ask you now, who and what? Who and what, who or what am I willing to forgive? In order so that I can step into the land of the free. Who and what am I willing to forgive? So that I can step into the land of the free. You know, what aspect of my wound that I've carried for so long am I finally ready to let go of so that I can free up the energy to live the life that I want to live? So what aspect of my wound, maybe even all of it, am I ready and willing to let go of, to forgive, to release, so that I can live, so I can be, so I can reside in the spacious openness of this moment? I invite you to dig deep and see what's here. And for some of you who are tripping with this, you could ask your wound. Like sometimes the wound really wants to hold on, and that's okay. We can have compassion for that. So if there's a part of your wound that's really holding on, we can ask it like, hey, what do you need? So that you can forgive, so that you can let go, so that you can heal. What do you need? And so if you're feeling stuck in this activity, you can ask your wound, you can look at it like it's a child in a loving way, and ask the child, what do you need? How can I support you? And feeling loved and feeling safe and feeling strong. So this part of you becomes more naturally willing to let go of the past and to step more fully into the present. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Now, sometimes our wound, it has a childlike consciousness and it demands something that's, well, doesn't exist here on planet Earth. Like, I need everyone around me to be kind all the time. It's like, well, this is a beautiful desire, that's probably not going to happen. So sometimes we have to look a little deeper. Say, what do I need? I need to reconnect with my strengths, with my power. I need to reconnect with my strength and my power before I can first forgive. And if that's the type of answer you get, that's okay. That's okay. There's room for that here. And so in the work of forgiveness, sometimes we can just look at this repetitive movement of thoughts, this repetitive wound that just keeps repeating itself in our consciousness. And we say, like, I just need to just drop that. And sometimes we can just drop it. But other times, like Martin writes, we need a little bit of space. And it's not the space to continue repeating the habit. We need the space to feel the hurt that's underneath the habit, to allow this space to hold us, to nurture us, to create a sense of safety, that there is space here to cry, to grieve, to let go, to release. There's space here. There's love here. There's compassion here. And so again, if you look inside now at your consciousness and just noticing with the wound that came forward in the beginning, did it soften? Did it open? Did it release? Did a big chunk of it let go? Did it loosen up? And in its place, like, what's there? What's there in its place? Is there not a greater deal of space, more expansive presence, a fuller sense of compassion or love?